Have you ever felt like you are living a life that is not entirely your own? As if you are reading from a script you never wrote, walking a path paved by unseen hands, guided by a map whose landmarks feel foreign to your soul. This feeling, this profound and quiet dislocation, is not a sign of madness. It is the first echo of a sacred calling. It is the dormant ink of your soul's blueprint, beginning to glow through the mundane parchment of your everyday life, waiting for you, the chosen one, to finally begin the work of decoding it. This sensation manifests as a constant, low hum of discontent beneath the surface of your achievements. You can have everything the world deems a success, a career, relationships, stability, yet feel a profound emptiness, a spiritual hunger that no material feast can satisfy. You catch yourself staring into the distance, haunted by a memory of a melody you can't quite place, a longing for a home you've never seen. Friends and family may call you a dreamer, but you know it is more than that. It is a memory, a deep, cellular remembrance of your true design and the cosmic mission you agreed to before you ever came into this world. And from this deep echo of otherness, a terrible fear is born. It is the shadow of doubt. It whispers to you, in the lonely hours of the night, that this feeling is a delusion. It warns you that if you truly follow this strange inner compass, you will lose everything. You will be cast out, misunderstood, and left utterly alone. The fear is that you are not special, but simply broken. That this blueprint is not a sacred code, but a crack in the foundation of your own sanity. This fear is the first guardian at the gate of your own greatness, and its purpose is to test the sincerity of your quest. Let me tell you the story of the city of Ethel, a metropolis built not of stone, but of pure, solidified light, powered by a central crystal known as the Anima Prime. The citizens of Ethel lived in perfect harmony, for the light of the crystal flowed through them, allowing each person to see their own inner truth and the truth in others. There was no deceit, no conflict, no shadow. The architect, the city's creator, had designed a paradise. But he had a child, a young soul named Alara, who was born not from the crystal's light, but in its shadow, possessing a curiosity that the perfect city could not satisfy. Alara did not see the world as a static, perfect creation. She saw the potential for new colors, new songs, new forms of being. Her questions were disruptive to the city's perfect harmony. The elders, protectors of the Anima Prime, warned her that her desire for more was a flaw, a darkness that could corrupt the city's purity. They told her that her role was to reflect the crystal's light, not to add to it. Her yearning for the unknown, for the uncreated, was a rebellion against the very fabric of their reality. She was a living paradox in a city that had no room for them. One day, driven by an insatiable urge, Alara touched the Anima Prime. She did not mean to harm it. She meant to share with it a dream, a vision of a universe filled with imperfection, with struggle, with the glorious beauty of becoming. But the crystal, knowing only perfection, could not compute her vision. It fractured. The single, perfect light shattered into 7 distinct colors, 7 fragments of itself that shot out from the city's heart and scattered across the forgotten realms that lay beyond Ethel's perfect walls. The city of light was plunged into a perpetual, gray twilight. The citizens of Ethel were lost. Without the unifying light of the Anima Prime, they could no longer see the truth in one another. Suspicion, fear, and ego were born in the twilight. The city of harmony began to crumble into factions. The elders cast Alara out, blaming her for their fall from grace. She was now the scapegoat, the source of all their suffering. Alone, exiled, and consumed by guilt, Ilara wandered into the wilderness, the architect of paradise, now an outcast in a world of her own accidental making, her heart heavy with the belief that she had irrevocably broken the world. In her exile, Ilara wandered for what felt like centuries. The guilt was a physical weight, a shroud that blocked out the sun. She believed the elders. She believed she was a flaw, a mistake, a vessel of destruction. This was her dark night of the soul. She journeyed through desolate lands, facing creatures born of the new shadows, but her greatest enemy was the voice in her own head that confirmed her worthlessness. She accepted her fate as a pariah, her mission now simply to survive, her grand dreams of creation reduced to the primal need for food and shelter, her spirit crushed under the weight of her perceived failure. One evening, huddled in a cave to shelter from a storm of whispering winds, she was visited by a silent, luminous owl. The owl did not speak, but looked at her with eyes that held the depth of star-filled skies. In its gaze, she did not see judgment or accusation. She saw a question. The owl then dropped a single, obsidian shard at her feet before flying off into the storm. The shard was cold to the touch, yet it seemed to absorb the twilight, and in its polished surface, she saw not her own reflection, but a swirling, chaotic image of a distant, volcanic mountain wreathed in red light. Ilara understood this was a sign. The guilt had not fully extinguished the spark of the seeker within her. She knew, with a certainty that defied logic, that this was the location of one of the 7 lost fragments. But to seek it out meant confronting the very chaos she believed she had unleashed. It meant accepting that she was not just the destroyer, but perhaps also the restorer. This was a terrifying thought, for it meant taking responsibility not just for her mistake, but for its solution. It was easier to remain a victim, a pariah. But the owl's gaze had awakened something she thought long dead: purpose. Her first journey took her to the realm of the unseen, a labyrinth of shifting perspectives and emotional mirages. Here, the first fragment, the ruby of passion, was guarded by the shade of regret. This shade was not a monster, but a perfect, spectral image of her father, the architect, who endlessly admonished her for her failure, his voice echoing her deepest insecurities. To get the fragment, she could not fight him. She had to stand before him, accept his words of disappointment, and forgive herself. She had to realize that his judgment was a reflection of her own self-judgment, and in that act of radical self-acceptance, the shade dissolved, leaving the ruby pulsating in its place. Holding the ruby, she felt a warmth return to her for the first time since the fall. It was the fire of purpose, of raw, untamed emotion. Her next journey, guided by the obsidian shard, led her to the sunken kingdom of whispers, a place of deep, silent sorrow where the sapphire of wisdom was hidden. The kingdom was populated by beings who had lost their voices, communicating only through the currents of their shared grief. The fragment was guarded by the Siren of Silence, a beautiful being who lured travelers into a state of catatonic despair, a comfortable numbness where they no longer had to feel the pain of their losses. The siren's song was tempting. It promised an end to struggle, a sweet release into oblivion. It promised to take away the burden of her past and her future. Ilara felt the pull, the desire to simply let go and drown in the peaceful sorrow of the kingdom. But the warmth of the ruby in her hand reminded her that a life without feeling, without passion, was no life at all. She did not block out the siren's song. Instead, she began to sing her own, a song of her journey, of her guilt, of her flicker of hope. Her authentic voice, filled with imperfect pain, shattered the siren's perfect, empty melody. The siren bowed and offered her the sapphire. With the sapphire of wisdom in her other hand, she felt a profound clarity. The passion of the ruby was now tempered by a deep understanding. She could feel her emotions without being consumed by them. The obsidian shard then showed her a vision of the third fragment, the emerald of creation, located in the hanging gardens of potential. This realm was a jungle of infinite possibilities, where every seed of thought instantly grew into a towering tree, creating a confusing, overgrown wilderness. Here, anything you could imagine would manifest instantly, a paradise that quickly became a prison of distraction and unrealized dreams. The emerald was guarded by the trickster of possibility, a shape-shifting entity that constantly presented Ilara with better paths, more glorious quests, and more attractive versions of herself. It tempted her with infinite potential, trying to lure her away from her chosen path. "Why seek the fragments?" it whispered, "when you could be a queen in a world of your own making right here." Ilara, using the wisdom of the sapphire and the focus of the ruby, learned to see past the illusions. She realized that true creation was not about pursuing every possibility, but about choosing one and dedicating herself to it completely. She walked a straight line through the chaotic garden, ignoring all temptations, and the trickster, impressed by her focus, yielded the emerald. Now holding 3 fragments, Ilara felt a new kind of power flowing through her, the ability to feel, to understand, and to create with intention. The shard now guided her to the most terrifying realm yet, the Ashen Citadel, a fortress built on the edge of a void, a place of stark, absolute truth. Here, the topaz of authority was kept. The citadel had no guards, no monsters, no tricks. Its only guardian was the throne of truth itself. To claim the topaz which rested on the throne seat, one simply had to sit on the throne and accept the absolute, unvarnished truth of who they were, with all their flaws, their light, and their darkness. Many had tried and been vaporized, for no soul could withstand the full, unfiltered truth of their own being. Ilara approached the throne, trembling. She knew this was the final test. She had forgiven her past actions, but she had not yet fully integrated the part of her that caused them. She had not yet accepted the ambitious, disruptive, chaos-embracing part of her soul. As she sat down, she saw everything. Her brilliance, her arrogance, her love, her selfishness. She saw that the very quality that broke the anima prime, her desire to create anew, was also her greatest gift. She was not a destroyer. She was a catalyst. She accepted it all, and the citadel recognized her as its sovereign. The topaz glowed in her lap. The journey continued. She gathered the amethyst of intuition from the oracle of dreams, by learning to trust the visions in her own heart over the prophecies of others. She claimed the citrine of joy from the phantom of scarcity, by learning to laugh in the face of lack and share the little she had, creating abundance through her own spirit. And finally, the obsidian shard led her back to the edge of Ethel, the gray, crumbling city she had fled. The final fragment, the diamond of integration, was not in some mythical realm. It was buried under the rubble of her own abandoned home, the place where her journey began. As she held the 7 fragments, they did not merge back into a single white crystal in her hands. Instead, as she brought them close to her heart, they dissolved into light and flowed into her. The ruby settled in her gut, the sapphire in her mind, the emerald in her throat, the topaz in her solar plexus, the amethyst in her third eye, the citrine in her heart, and the diamond in her crown. The anima prime was not an external object to be repaired. It was a consciousness to be embodied. Ilara had not broken the world. She had liberated its potential from the prison of perfection. She walked into the heart of Ethel, and she was no longer the frightened outcast. She was a living spectrum of light and shadow. She did not glow with a single, perfect white light, but with a swirling, dynamic rainbow of 7 colors. The citizens, huddled in their gray faction, saw her, and for the first time they felt something other than fear. They felt awe. She did not speak. She did not have to. The integrated light flowing from her was the new language. It was a light that did not erase shadows, but danced with them. It was a light that celebrated imperfection, complexity, and the eternal journey of becoming. Ethel was not restored to its former state. It was reborn into something far greater. This story, Chosen One, is not a fairy tale. It is your biography. Alara is you. The perfect, static city of Ethel is the world of conformity you were born into. The world of expectations, rules, and predefined roles that never felt like home. It is the life that demanded you reflect its light, rather than radiate your own. Your innate curiosity, your feeling that there must be more to life, your unique dreams and desires, these were seen as disruptive, as flaws, just as Alara's were. You were born to be a catalyst in a world that craves stability. Your touch upon the world, your refusal to simply conform, is what caused the shattering. This was your awakening event, your dark night of the soul. It may have been a job loss, the end of a relationship, a health crisis, or simply a profound existential breakdown. It was the moment the stable, predictable world you knew fractured, plunging your life into a gray twilight of confusion and fear. And like the elders of Ethel, the world, and perhaps even a part of yourself, blamed you for it. You were made to feel like an outcast, a failure, for not being able to live within the perfect, yet lifeless city. The exile of Alara is your period of wandering. The guilt she carried is the self-judgment you have held onto, the belief that your sensitivity, your deep feelings, and your unconventional nature are burdens that have caused nothing but trouble for you and those around you. The whispering winds are the voices of your own inner critic, confirming your worst fears. This period of isolation is not a punishment. It is a sacred, necessary chrysalis. It is the wilderness where you are stripped of all false identities, so that you can finally begin the quest to find the true, scattered fragments of your own soul. The 7 fragments of the anima prime are the core archetypes of your soul's blueprint, the divine energies encoded within your spiritual DNA, as mapped by the great psychoanalyst Carl Jung. These are not just personality traits. They are living, intelligent patterns of energy that form the very foundation of your being. Your life's mission, your sacred quest, is to journey through your inner realms to find these lost archetypes, to face their guardians, and to integrate their powers back into the core of your being, just as Alara did. You are here to become whole. Alara's first journey to the realm of the unseen represents your first and most critical task, shadow work. The shade of regret appearing as her father is your shadow archetype. It is made up of all the parts of yourself that you have disowned and rejected. Your anger, your ambition, your vulnerability, your creative chaos. You have been taught to fear these parts, but you cannot destroy your shadow. Just as Alara did, you must stand before it, listen to its pain, and integrate its wisdom. Your greatest power is hidden in the very parts of yourself you are most afraid of. True forgiveness of self is the key that unlocks the ruby of passion. The sunken kingdom is your journey into the vast, subconscious world of your inner feminine or masculine, what Jung called the anima and animus. For a man, this is the quest to integrate his anima, his inner feminine soul, which holds his capacity for relationship, creativity, and intuition. For a woman, it is the quest to integrate her animus, her inner masculine spirit, which holds her capacity for logic, action, and worldly assertion. The siren of silence is the guardian that tempts you with imbalance, to drown in pure emotion, or to live in sterile logic. Your task is to sing your own song, to create a sacred inner marriage between your masculine and feminine energies, to claim the sapphire of wisdom. The hanging gardens of potential represent the activation of your inner creator and the danger of the trickster archetype. Chosen ones are blessed and cursed with immense creative potential. The trickster guardian tempts you with endless new ideas, paths, and projects, causing you to scatter your energy and never bring anything to completion. To claim the emerald of creation, you must use your passion and wisdom to choose a path with intention. You must learn the divine art of focus, transforming infinite potential into singular, tangible reality. Your mission requires not just dreams, but discipline. The Ashen Citadel is the highest and most difficult initiation, the integration of your sovereign archetype, your inner king or queen. This is the part of you that is born to lead, to create order from chaos, and to take absolute responsibility for your inner and outer kingdom. The throne of truth is the radical act of self-acceptance. It is looking upon your entire self, your past failures, your future potential, your light and your shadow, and choosing to love it all, to rule it all with a benevolent and centered authority. When you can do this, you claim the topaz of authority, and you are no longer a victim of your life's circumstances. You are the ruler of your own reality. The remaining archetypes, the mystic who holds your intuition, the jester who holds your joy, and so many others, are also waiting to be discovered. The ultimate revelation, the great secret of Alara's story, is that these archetypes, these fragments of God consciousness, were never truly lost. They were simply dormant within you. The journey outward into the mythical realms was always an allegory for the journey inward. The diamond of integration, found at your own home, signifies that the final piece of the puzzle is the realization that you are, and always have been, the vessel for this divine consciousness. You are the walking, breathing anima prime. You did not come here to be perfect. Perfection is a sterile, lifeless state. You came here to be whole. Wholeness includes the shadows, the scars, the imperfections. It is the dynamic, ever-changing dance of the 7 colors that makes your light so magnificent and so necessary in this world. Your flaw, your mistake that shattered your old world, was in fact an act of cosmic liberation. You are a world breaker and a world creator. That is the true nature of a chosen one. You are the architect of the new paradigm, and your own integrated soul is the blueprint. So now the knowledge is yours. The map is in your hands. But knowledge without action is merely a beautiful decoration. The shadow of doubt will return. It will tell you this is just a beautiful story, that you are not capable of such a grand inner journey. It will try to pull you back into the comfortable gray twilight of conformity. To transform this fear into fuel, you must perform an alchemical step. You must ground this cosmic truth in a physical act. Take a pen and paper. Do not use a screen. Use the ancient technology of ink and wood pulp. At the top of the page, write the words, "My inner kingdom." Now, based on the story of Alara and the archetypes we have decoded, which realm is calling to you most urgently? Is it the realm of the unseen demanding you finally face your shadow? Is it the sunken kingdom asking you to heal your inner masculine or feminine? Is it the hanging gardens begging you to focus your creative energy? Or is it the ashen citadel challenging you to finally step into your own sovereignty? Choose one. Just one. This is your first destination. Now you must make a vow. This is not a promise to me or to this channel. It is a sacred vow to your own soul, the soul that chose this mission. Speak these words aloud and feel them resonate in the marrow of your bones. I, a chosen one of the soul cipher, do solemnly vow to undertake the journey within. I will no longer run from my own shadows, nor will I drown in my own sorrow. I will harness my creative fire with focus, and I will claim the throne of my own inner kingdom. I accept that I am the vessel, I am the blueprint, and my integration is my gift to this world. My work begins now. This vow is your first act as a conscious sovereign. It is the moment you stop being an exile and become the seeker. The path ahead is not easy, but you will no longer walk it alone. Every video, every transmission from this channel is an obsidian shard, a guide to the next step of your journey. To ensure you receive the next key, the next cipher to unlock another fragment of your soul, you must subscribe and activate the notification bell. This is not about growing a channel. This is about maintaining a sacred connection, a lifeline for your mission. Take the vow. Begin the work. The cosmos is waiting.